It's a rather stormy pattern we're getting back into across the Bluegrass State. I'm tracking some thunderstorms showing up right now on Live First Alert Defender.
They didn't even spell KKK. They just said KK. It says KK coming.
A Casey County man claims he's been the victim of a hate crime.
And one of the finalists for the Fayette County School Superintendent job is in Lexington. We'll get a closer look at his background and how you can meet him tonight coming up.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
We will get to all those stories in just a moment, but first we are tracking a breaking news alert here in Lexington. Police say they have indicted 2 people in connection to the murder of a Marine last year in Lexington.
Today, the Fayette County grand jury indicted Quincinio Canada and Dewan Mulazim for the murder of Jonathan Price and the assault of his wife, Megan. Police say that Jonathan Price and Megan were leaving a bar at the Woodhill Center when someone robbed and shot them. Jonathan died, but Megan survived. The 2 suspects were arrested last year on unrelated charges. Right now, Canada is at the Jefferson County Detention Center. Mulazim is at the Hopkins County Detention Center. Now, just yesterday here on WKYT, we had an interview with the mother of Jonathan Price. She talked about her deep bond with her son and her concern the night he didn't make it home.
We have more showers and storms moving across parts of central and eastern Kentucky right now, and a few of them are on the strong side.
So let's check in right now with our chief meteorologist, Chris Bailey. He shows us what he's tracking on the First Alert Defender. Chris?
Yeah, guys, not like we're tracking this big, massive severe weather outbreak by any means. Scattered thunderstorms are out there. Those storms are mainly heavy rain and some big-time lightning producers. Live First Alert Defender showing clusters to the southeast of Lexington and to our northeast. If you're from I-75 west and north of the 64 area from Lexington west, we're in pretty good shape this evening. Farther east and south, yeah, we've got some issues with some showers and thunderstorms. Don't really think we're going to have a lot of severe weather. It's a lot of noise coming from the storms that are down the Mountain Parkway corridor into Wolfe County. That is sinking toward the south into northern parts of Lee County, heading toward Jackson. Beattyville, we're right in between storms. Got another complex of some strong storms just to the west of us, west of Boonville, McKee into Jackson County. That action is off to our east. Had a good thunderstorm heading toward Richmond. Boy, it put the brakes on and decided to fizzle out right into the west side of Madison County. Lexington Metro, not a lot out there. Thunderstorms in the northeastern parts of the Bluegrass State are continuing to show up. That is with a cold front that is across the area now. That front's going to continue to sag its way on toward the south as we make our way through the evening. So your weather headlines, active weather period ahead of us, guys. I'm tracking more rounds of strong thunderstorms and a big temperature ride. We're going to really go up, and then we're going to take a big drop in the 7-day forecast in about 10 minutes.
Chris, thank you. They say that they're terrified to stay in their house. Tonight, a South Central Kentucky family says they are the target of hate crimes.
The Guest family in Casey County tells us someone is writing racial slurs on their property and has even vandalized their car. Phil Pendleton is talking to the victims who are worried what the suspects may do next. It's our top story at 5:30.
I'm terrified to stay here.
A few words
We pull up, there's racial messages
or letters.
They didn't even spell KKK. They just said KK. It says KK coming.
Yet the Guest family says it's terrifying to them what's been done.
Someone's brave enough to put the signs up. Then they're going to be brave enough to come over here and burn the house down with me, my kids, my family in it.
Tyrone and Taylene Guest say the first incident happened on Father's Day. They came home to find this on their front door, and below it a message too profane to show on television.
We lived in Casey County since June of last year. This is not Casey County. This is the first time I've actually been called.
Twice police have been called, and they tell us they are investigating, but it's been hard to prove who's doing it. Guest says he suspects someone who lives close by, admits it may have started with something he said after his dog was stolen.
Okay, I know that I might have been in the wrong. I got into it with somebody on this street, and I had called them out their name. I shouldn't have did that. That was not gentlemanly of me at all.
But he says this kind of behavior is uncalled for.
I don't get no sleep. I've not got no sleep in 4 nights. My husband's not slept at all.
In Casey County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Well, Guest says he has lived in Casey County for about a year now, but he says he has never experienced anything like this.
It is your chance to meet the candidates for Fayette County School Superintendent. The school board named 2 of the finalists last week, and tonight one of those people is in Lexington. Emmanuel Kalk is currently the superintendent of the Portland, Maine district. He'll be spending the next day in Lexington. The other finalist, Terry Breeden, will visit later this week. And new at 5:30, Garrett Weimer tells us how you can meet Kalk while he's in town.
This reception was originally scheduled to be held at William Wells Brown Elementary School, but a school district spokesperson says because of overwhelming interest, they moved it here to Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. So a big crowd expected when this reception gets underway in a little less now than half an hour. Emmanuel Kalk is currently the superintendent of schools in Portland, Maine. After arriving in Lexington, he was scheduled to spend the day touring schools this afternoon before the reception. School Board Chair John Price told us last week they chose these 2 finalists because they have a strong record of gap-closing success, urban experience, and transformation leadership.
And they've worked in diverse districts, districts with a diversity of population and very urban population and large population, all of which we sort of meet here in Fayette County.
Even after the reception, Kalk's time here in Lexington has just begun. Tomorrow, Kalk will be interviewed by 8 different focus groups made up of students, employees, families, and community members. Then after that, there's a press conference scheduled for 3:15 and a public forum scheduled for 6 o'clock at the school district offices. In Lexington, I'm Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
And the other finalist, Terry Breeden, an assistant superintendent in Loudoun County, Virginia, will go through the same process on Thursday and Friday.
Police in southeastern Kentucky say a weekend shooting victim has died. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Knox County. State police say Jason Marcy and Ford Collett got into a fight at Marcy's home near Barberville. Troopers say Collett drove to Marcy's house, got out of his vehicle, and pulled out a weapon. They believe that the 2 started arguing, and Marcy shot Collett in the side. Police have not yet said what led up to the argument. No charges have been filed in the shooting. This is not the first shooting case that Marcy has been involved in. In August of last year, Marcy was the victim of a shooting in Knox County. In Harlan County, a man has been arrested after police found thousands of dollars worth of drugs at his home. Deputies say they searched John Paul Thomas's home after receiving several calls about illegal drug activity going on at the house. They tell us they found nearly 200 oxycodone pills with a street value of more than $10,000 and packaged marijuana. Deputies also seized 3 vehicles and $2,500 of cash. Thomas was arrested and charged with trafficking.
Volunteers continue to lend a helping hand to an Anderson County daycare damaged in a storm. 75-mile-an-hour winds ripped the roof right off the Abundant Life Christian Learning Tree in Lawrenceburg. The building is now condemned. Volunteers returned today to help clean up the damage and help the daycare move to a new space.
We put the call out and just lots of people just came in, people we didn't even know, and yet there were a lot of our friends and neighbors, people who worked here. They came and helped last night. We were just really blessed with that.
Bluegrass Community and Technical College is donating space for the daycare to use. And speaking of helping out, it didn't take long. In less than 24 hours, the Lexington Humane Society raised enough money to replace their broken air conditioning unit. On Monday morning, officials created a donation page to replace the unit in the dog kennel room. A new unit costs $35,000. Fayette Heating and Air gave them a donation of $10,000, and tonight they've raised a total of $38,000, and people are still donating.
I am so honored to be living in Lexington right now. It was incredible. We would keep checking and just be floored with more and more donations, people offering to donate their own personal AC unit.
The Humane Society hopes to have the new AC unit installed soon. The extra money will go into a fund to take care of any issues that they run into in the future.
Louisville's new needle exchange program is under fire tonight, just weeks after it began. Kentucky's state Senate president says the needle exchange may be violating state law. The law passed earlier this year to fight the state's heroin problem allows local governments to set up a program to allow people to exchange needles. But the exchange set up in Louisville promises to give away clean needles even if the person requesting them does not have dirty needles to exchange. Senator Robert Stivers wrote a letter to Attorney General Jack Conway asking for his opinion. In Lexington, the health department hopes to have the needle exchange set up by Labor Day.
We have a follow-up to our report last week on the inspection by the Health Department of Lexington food truck vendors. There are currently 39 registered with the city. Our good question, what are some of the violations specifically that can close down a food truck? Health Department inspectors say they try to look at the food trucks and temporary food services before they open to the public. If there is a problem, the inspectors would prefer to shut them down before they start serving customers. Some of the common closure items, they tell me, include improper food temperatures, poor employee practices, no gloves, no means for hand washing, no dishwashing setup, not enough water available, and improper sewage disposal. The Fayette County Health Department tells me there have been no reports of food poisoning attributed to food trucks in the last year. If you have a good question, go to WKYT.com. Both of Kentucky's U.S. senators are taking a public stand on the public display of the Confederate flag.
And Democratic nominee Jack Conway releases his jobs plan. Bill Bryant takes a look in the bottom line.
Good evening. Both of Kentucky's U.S. senators are now on record opposing the continued public display of the Confederate flag. Rand Paul took a public stance this afternoon, saying the flag is inescapably a symbol of human bondage and slavery. His quote, he said the decision to remove it from South Carolina's Capitol grounds is up to South Carolina, but Paul said he would vote to remove it if he lived there. Paul's statement followed one by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who said the time for a state to fly the Confederate flag has passed. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and Senator Lindsey Graham have also called for the flag of the southern states that rebelled against the Union to be taken down. There have been growing calls for the Confederate flag's removal since last week's killing of 9 African Americans at a historic church in Charleston. The Kentucky Attorney General's office says the University of Kentucky should release records in cases dealing with animal research and cancer statistics. One request came from People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA. The opinion deals with 2 requests for information, one from them, also one from an attorney seeking information about the Kentucky Cancer Registry. The Democratic nominee for governor, Jack Conway, releasing a jobs plan today, including promoting Kentucky's homegrown industries and expanding broadband access to rural areas. Conway does not support a right-to-work bill championed by Republican Matt Bevin. Conway said he would phase out a state inventory tax. Bevin says Conway took too long to focus on jobs. The legality of the local option needle exchanges started in Louisville and planned in Lexington being questioned by State Senate President Robert Stivers. He's seeking an Attorney General's opinion. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
State emergency management officials are testing their communication equipment to make sure it works in a crisis.
Trucks from Kentucky State Police, the National Guard, the Fire Commission, and local rescue operations were set up in the parking lot of the Hal Rogers Training Center in Somerset today. It's one of several locations the agencies are setting up in this week to make sure communications are running right. Emergency officials tell us that in the event of a disaster or emergency, the first step is assuring communication.
Anybody that's got a radio that's involved in an emergency service, we want to be sure that we're able to talk to them. They can talk to who they need to talk to.
Franklin says they are testing all kinds of formats and frequencies, even down to the amateur brands.